a junior history major
Woo!
at Yale. And even though I'm a junior and I've taken 8 of these history classes, I only just decided to be a history major this year. And I think some people were real surprised by that. But I was talking to one of my friends and she's an engineer and I was like, yeah, maybe I'm going to do history. And she turns to me slowly and she goes, "You are so brave." As if I had just said, "Listen, Sarge, I know it's dangerous, but we gotta go back for the platoon." I didn't realize I was an American hero. But I love almost everything about being a history major. I love going to the archives, I love the professors, I love my classmates. But the one thing I don't love is section. I don't know if I've ever said anything I'm proud of in section. My version of hell is just for eternity, people repeat back to me things I've said in section. And I think just recently I figured out how to approach section. I think the idea is whenever you make a comment, make a really obvious statement sound like a question, and then build a conjure a ball with your hands. So maybe Thomas Jefferson did some good things, but also some bad things. But I also love history majors always have really cool outfits. But what really makes me laugh is when people show up in clothing that's really alt or punk or goth. And I'm you all took the SAT 2s. Nothing you do is countercultural. This is the most standard definition of success. Hard to compliment a lot of people on their clothing, especially if it's expensive clothing. It's a conversation will never go oh my gosh, I love your jacket, and then no one will ever reply thank you. And so it's wow, I really love your jacket. And it's oh, it was $2. I got it at a thrift shop 80 years ago. I don't remember which thrift shop. It's there's so many. Or it's a really exasperated, oh, these pants, they were $2. They're just hand-me-downs. I don't know where I got them. I think a seagull gave them to me. And I didn't want to wear them, but the seagull made me. But I wonder why so many rich students are always trying to convince me that their clothes are really inexpensive, and then I realized that they're just afraid poor people are going to steal them. And then I thought about this some more, and then I'm maybe rich people are just trying to be middle class, because being middle class is being in the 99%. And 99% is a really high A. But I think the real reason people get uncomfortable when you bring up expensive items or clothing is that wealth means having privilege, and having privilege makes people feel bad. But what I think people don't understand is that privilege is structural and not an individual thing you experience. So if you're in your mid-20s and your parents have a lot of money, that doesn't, and they buy you nice things, that doesn't inherently make you a bad person. Maybe it makes your parents bad people. But the flip of that is hard too, because if wealth makes you bad, then does being low income make you a good person? Being low income wasn't some ethical choice. I'm not a better person because I'm low income. I'm a better person because I'm a history major. But I think if we go through life just denying our privileges or just being really defensive about them, we don't actually solve anything. Denying your privileges doesn't make people feel better. You convincing me your $2,000 Prada jacket was a hand-me-down doesn't solve poverty. What does solve poverty is not going into career options that make money off of oppressing people, doing pro bono work, or doing charity work from effective charities. And if none of those things work, there is something available to all of you tonight to help low-income students. Just give me your money.